The second big experience that I had from my childhood that, probably contributed to the way that I looked at and felt about water was that I was 12 years old. At the end of a dance recital, we got to have a summer celebration at a community pool, and I'm there with all these friends of mine from dance class, and it's a big community pool, so got this Olympic style pool. It's got this really fun spiral water slide. It's got a diving board. It's like 14 feet deep. It's epic. It's awesome, right? Or at least all the kids think it's really, really great. I'm there, I'm in a swimsuit, and I'm hanging out with friends and talking with people, and everybody's like, Mindy, you gotta check out the water slide, it's really, really awesome. And I tell them I've never really learned how to swim, and they reassure me, don't worry, you'll float. So I'm like, all right, a bit braver then, unsure, but brave. And I went down this water slide, and I was under the water. And I just decided to do this breaststroke and frog leg thing simultaneously in a direction that I really truly believed was up. And I just kept getting deeper, 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 almost as if I was swimming backwards. And I felt the bottom of the pool, and I just knew enough not to panic. And the next thing you know, I'm being pulled up from the water by my left foot. And yeah, so sometimes my left ankle will pop, but that's actually from that experience. It's not dance related at all. The person that pulled me up was my dance instructor's son, JJ. So JJ pulled me up from the swimming pool, and of course, because it's my dance teacher's son, my dance teacher told my mother about it, and the next thing you know, for that particular summer, I was enrolled into swimming lessons at the exact same community pool. So I'm enrolled in these swimming lessons because of that, and I'm there, and it was very awkward. All of the other students were 6 years old. I was 12, and my teacher was 16, a lifeguard. So I was a bit embarrassed, but I went through with the classes in the beginning, and then there was the day that we needed to jump off the diving board, and I made sure that I was last. And in my head, just to make myself feel good about it, I was like, let's just go in order from shortest to tallest. Just kind of giving myself some satisfactory of, I don't really want to do this, and me being last is a good thing. So I am finally up there at the diving board, and I'm not jumping off. Because this is the exact same pool that I just fell into, maybe a month prior, where, my buddy JJ pulled me up on my left foot. And so my teacher, a 16-year-old lifeguard, decides to push me in. And I go in the water, and the exact same thing happens. I do this breaststroke leg thingy, and I go deeper, 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 and somebody has to pull me out. And I go home and I talk to my mother. And I said, Mom, do I have to continue with these swimming lessons? And she says, well, yeah. We have a pond in our backyard, and it is really important that you learn how to swim. It's for your safety. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. I'm not going to be able to change her mind on that. So, of course, the next day I show up at the community center ready to continue on my swimming lessons for the rest of the summer. She drops me off, and I go inside, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do? I'm going to be here every single day for the rest of the summer. What am I going to do with my time? Because I am not going back to class. So I looked at the roster, and I was like, massage therapy. That sounds interesting. So I redirected my course to go from swimming lessons to massage therapy, and I was the only kid in that class. Most of them were 20s, and they were adults. And so I learned all of these awesome techniques about massage and circulation, myofascial release, just a little bit before even I knew what that was. Before I even got into mobility, I started to work on that kind of like physical therapy, partner stretches, and massage therapy. So it was really, really fun for me. Plus, I was already 4 years into ballet. So it was awesome. And at the end of the day, I would go into the women's locker room and take a shower and get my hair wet, and my mom would pick me up, and she'd never know the difference. Until the next summer. My sister lives in Los Angeles, California. My mom and I would go visit her in the summertime, and sometimes we'd be at her apartment swimming pool, and my mom would be like, "Why aren't you swimming?" And she's like, "Well, didn't you have swimming lessons last summer?" And I said, "How about those back massages, Mom?" You know? So it wasn't until an entire year later that my mother found out the truth, that I still had no clue how to swim. And from that summer on, I literally would go in the water and never let my head go underneath the water. And if someone splashed me just by mistake or whatever, if my face got wet in any way, I'd always have a towel at the edge of the pool so that I would wipe my face dry. Also, all of my hygiene from as long as I can possibly remember. I took a shower and washed my hair in the shower, but I washed my face at the sink. I had never let water run on my face as if it's a waterfall from the shower head or anything like that. So running water down my face was a feeling I did not like. I always had a towel or a washcloth or something quick to keep it dry, to keep it from any of the dripping beads over my face. So I just, as a collection of it all, that's where I was coming from. That was the history, that was the past, and I'm so glad I'm way beyond that now. But because that's where I was, I had to start small. And I got creative about it. So yeah, I had a vision board up with pictures and cutouts of Marissa Miller with a surfboard, and a girl like coming out of a pool that's, her hair's all wet like she's a swimmer, like she's an Olympic swimmer or something. And I just put that up there, like those pictures. And then eventually I remodified my vision board to be words saying like surfer actually on there. And the big heart of that was just, I wanted that kind of freedom of not being afraid to do extreme sports. But I felt that if surfing was on the board, it would motivate me to take the steps leading up to that. So the very first step I did in proactively taking action to address the situation was getting comfortable getting my face wet. So every time I was in the shower, after I had washed my hair, the conditioner's in there, and it's time to rinse out the conditioner, like the absolute last step, I would close my eyes, plug my nose, and hold my breath, and really fast, like lighting a match, lean my body forward into the water and back out as fast as I possibly could, until I realized I don't like how much tension that was. Why don't I just kind of like slowly, just this part gets wet, and then this part gets wet, and this part gets wet, and all this stuff. So eventually I got a little bit comfortable with that. It wasn't until a couple other steps that got better. So that was my first attempt, but it wasn't necessarily successful. I wasn't at a point of emotional comfort during that step, but it was the action and the motivation that was awesome. So then I realized that when I opened my eyes would burn. I would hate it. I would be like, oh my gosh, this can't be the way that everybody does this. I believed that the pain in your eyes is just something that you have to endure if you're ever going to take up swimming, or if you're ever going to be underwater, and that when you're up again from the surface, if your face is wet and you open your eyes, it's going to hurt. I believed that. I thought that was fact. It's not. It's absolutely not true. So getting my face wet, and then I felt all of that burn and that pain, and I thought to myself, well, maybe my eyes are dehydrated. Maybe I lack moisture in the mucous membrane of my eyes. And that was an awesome idea. That was an awesome thought that came to me, because I bought artificial tears, and I got used to putting the eye drops in my eyes. And the beauty of that story is that my floaters went away. The little proteins, like the concentrated proteins that are on the outside layer of your mucous membrane of your eyeball, that when you see what kind of looks like dots and then they kind of drift and float with you as your eye moves around and stuff like that, those floaters totally dissolved. And I believe that because it was such a concentrated protein, I needed moisture, like artificial tears, to help rehydrate and moisturize that mucous membrane of my eyes so that I could see more clearly. I could see more clearly, and I got comfortable with what it would have felt like to have water go into the eye by doing the eyedroppers myself. I learned how to get comfortable with it instead of it being like double Dutch and you're trying to learn how to jump in. Yeah? It became a breeze, absolute flow. So a combination of those two steps in the beginning, adding the eye drops to my eyes, and then at the end of the shower, getting my face wet. Those were the first steps. So the next video I'm gonna give you are the next steps after that. It's awesome. All right, guys, time to go swimming.